Hi everyone, welcome to Ragtag, the place for bytes and banter. My name is Victoria, I'm a solutions engineer.
I'm Saloni, software developer.
And today we have our guest, Andrew.
Hey everyone, my name's Andrew and I'm a senior software engineer at a fintech company. And recently I've become a new dad to a 1.5-year-old son.
Yeah, which is such a great segue to our topic for today because today is all about the engineering dad. And basically we just want to dive deep into the life of Andrew, like not too deep. Just dive deep about like how has he basically managed his time, like both as a software engineer and as a recent dad. So I think we can ask our first question that we're most curious about for Andrew is what does a typical day look like for you balancing just as a software engineer and as a dad?
The day in the life of being a dad and engineer, I think it was quite hectic last year because firstly, like for example, I will start off in the morning. We'll have to kind of give him milk and change his diapers and also change his clothes and stuff like that. Basically, this is another human being, right? So he would have to eat, sleep, shower, change clothes, just that someone else has to do it for him now because he's not capable of doing so. Yeah, so the morning it's usually quite hectic in that sense because I have to also get ready for stand up. It's always a rush to kind of get everything that needs to be done for my son in the morning. We have to feed him like every 2 or 3 hours as well. So he's constantly have to kind of be reminded all this, like when is his next nap time, when is his next feeding time, have we changed diapers? So a lot of like asking ourselves, like me and my wife asking ourselves questions throughout the day.
Is it time yet?
Is it time yet? And like while still trying to code something out, right? So it's kind of at the back of my mind that I have another person to take care of. I think throughout the like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, we'll just be juggling between going for meetings and like when I end work and I basically become more full time with my son, we have to start preparing like his
For nighttime.
Yeah, for nighttime. It's like there's a different set of things to do. Like we have to shower him or like bring him out for a walk and also try to get into a schedule. I think more recently there's an updated version because we actually employed a helper and she actually helps with the morning routine, so me and my wife can actually sleep in a bit longer. Yeah, I think that's the two versions that I have as of now. Yeah, as of now, because I say as of now because it's always going to change. Like I wouldn't even say every year, like every month. Like every month is a different kid.
Every month new version update.
Yeah, new. It's like a minor version bump.
Minor version.
Yeah.
So just hearing from you is like very hectic, constantly changing, constantly having to adapt. I was wondering if there's any technology that you use to leverage or to help you like navigate all these like new responsibilities, especially since you're a software engineer. Do you like dabble in like making an app or like finding apps that will help with that?
I wouldn't. The thing is, I wouldn't even have the time to have looked into having an app or like creating something on my own. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There are already baby apps out there that can kind of help me and my wife. We didn't actually get a baby monitor per se. The thing that we use is just to track like the live footage, and also it allows you to store like to the cloud. But we didn't do that because we thought it was like too much. We just like back it up to the local SD card on the camera. So we can, through the app, we can do like a playback. We can just go to specific parts of the night and see what he was doing. Because sometimes he would wake up in the middle of the night and
Oh yes, it's all by themselves, right? Just there.
yeah, and then
Doing
they
stuff
might
by
like just sit
themselves.
down and like just look into the air and like, like they might go to sleep or not. We not only have such cameras in his bedroom, but also we have it in like living room. It also helped capture some of the moments that we weren't able to capture. Like for example, when he was like first started clapping. It's not like me or my wife has our phone always on standby, right? So the thing is always recording. So we just need to go back, play back at that exact second,
And then
it allows us to capture like a snippet, and then
Save
yeah,
it. Oh,
you
that's
can save
nice.
it.
The person he stands also, I guess.
Yeah, like
walks
yeah, like as long as it's within the view of the camera, because we don't have like camera
Everywhere.
everywhere in the house. So it's just like in the main spaces whereby he's usually at.
I actually wanted to ask, like, with this dad, being a dad and a software engineer, how do you actually, like, at least for me, I find it will be a bit difficult for me to stop thinking about one or the other. Do you face this issue where you can't separate your thought process, maybe?
I would say definitely because our like me and my wife's well we live in a 3-room HDB, so it's not the biggest. So it doesn't really matter if you have the door closed or
You
like
can still hear.
yeah, we can still hear, or even sometimes like we just think that he's crying, but actually he's not. It's like this kind of like hallucinations.
No.
I guess it's just like,
Because
especially
all the
during
time, so you might think is it crying?
I mean, especially during like the first year where he's like he can't even walk or crawl yet, and like he's just mainly just crying when he's hungry. Like I mean, that's the way that they communicate in the early years. Yeah, I would say it's hard to context switch. I mean,
Yeah,
even at
context
work,
switch.
even at work, there is context switching.
Yeah.
I think the boundaries between work and being a dad have, as much as possible, you want to be like a superhuman, right? But I think eventually it's just going to be really tiring to manage both. Yeah, you just have to manage one thing at a time, and like on the weekends where there's no work, and it's like you have full commitment to taking care of your kid, right? I think that's important to have. Yeah.
I do have one question for you. Like, I always want to ask this to like a man, where you know, like how we always associate children and kids with moms. Like the mom has to be very involved with the child. I've heard that you're a little bit more hands-on. You know, you actually ask a company for like, oh, can I get some time off you? I need to bring my child to clinic. I need to take care of him. I need to feed him. So how do you feel it is like? Do you think it's actually more mom involved, or do you think dad can have equal role in it, or that's how it should be? Like, what's your take on it?
I believe it should be an equal involvement. It has to be a two-way communication. So in terms of having a kid, maybe it's a bit different for dads because I think there's a saying out there that goes like a mom becomes a mom when they get pregnant because then they have to carry the kid for 9 months and then
It
just-
already affected
yeah, it
their
just
lives.
feels yeah, it really affected their lives in terms of how they're feeling, right, for the 9 months. But a dad becomes a dad when the kid is born. Like even at work, I feel like being hands-on is something that when I say hands-on, I mean like be proactive, right? So I think it not only just applies to like having a kid, but like in any like even at your job, I mean being hands-on. There's definitely always more upsides and downsides. I think there's no harm like trying something they've not tried before. And when it comes to taking care of a baby, new things like unforeseen circumstances, like when you are changing the diapers and then like the kid suddenly just pees on you, right? And what do you do, right? It's like you will never experience all of this if you don't even attempt to change the kids' diapers, right? And we actually employed a confinement nanny in the first month, which will basically do all the stuff while the mom rests. But then that got me thinking because thankfully the dad doesn't really do much in the whole labor process, right? Just like moral support. So like thankfully the dad can just get started right away. Even if there's confinement nanny, he can be hands-on right from then, right? Yeah, I would say be hands-on from the start, and then I think eventually you just get like used to it and like it just becomes part of your daily routine.
It's good that he's like that you're very involved and that you really try to be empathetic towards, like shared responsibilities and everything. So maybe we can have one last question before wrapping up, is that what advice can you give to like maybe future dads who are also engineers and have to like juggle and experience all this that you have experienced?
I would say because when you're a software engineer, I think at least for most guys, we try to tackle challenges in a logical manner, but sometimes there is no logic to taking care of kids because you don't know what they want, right? Like if you are at work and you are working on debugging a specific issue, it's always like pretty methodological, right? You go step by step, like check the logs and like try to reproduce the issue. But with a kid, you can't reproduce the issue, right? It's just really there, and like even if you go through the things that you think it usually solves the issue, like it still doesn't work, then you just have to figure out like what works best for him. Because I think every kid is different. Prepare yourself like to that. It's not always going to work. Basically, like in software engineering, like there is definitely a solution to it, but when taking care of a kid, like it's pretty normal, right? You just have to accept that it's a normal part of being a parent, and you will only get better with time. I think with being a dad and an engineer as well, time management probably is important, because I mean at work you have different tasks to work on, and as a dad you also have different tasks to work on, right? So you kind of have to allocate your time accordingly, and also like don't try to do everything by yourself. At home you have to communicate with your wife and see which things you are better in and which things she's better in, right? So like for example, I'm better at showering the kid, then I'll just do it, and but she's better at like maybe cooking his food or like thinking of what food to introduce to him, then she would just take ownership of that. So it's kind of the same at work as well, in that sense, because you just have to identify your strengths and just work together with your teammate, in this case my wife,
Yeah, I like the way
and
of
achieve
thinking.
I wouldn't say achieve your goals, but that's more for your work, but like basically just grow all together with your son, right? Like just watch him grow. I think
maintain the code base well, and then any update
It is
changes.
like a project actually.
Yeah,
The
that's-
child will become something. He'll have an outcome also.
and
kind
you
of,
have to
and
constantly
you are
update.
nurturing it towards there together
Yeah.
as a team.
Yeah, as a team. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a teamwork. I like that. I like how you always have that parallelism and that.
It's always like that with software engineers. I
Yeah, I
think.
mean,
They
I
always
try not to
use the
overdo it,
same-
but like
But it's
on
good.
hindsight, it does make sense. Some of the things.
Yeah, it makes certain things methodological.
Yeah, that's
So-
nice. Yeah. So thank you so much, Andrew, for today's session. I think once again we learned a lot, especially compared to Yumin's Mom Junior episode. Now we learned a different perspective.
Yes.
From the dad's perspective, which is also just as interesting and just as insightful. We hope a lot of people do find some relatability in this, and maybe even take away a lot of advice for like aspiring new dads. So thank you so much, and yeah,
This has been RegTech.
Yeah.
And like always, please do subscribe to us, follow us on our socials, and we'll see you again.
yeah.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.